What's good, YouTube? Today's video is about finding out if you're not good at something and you need to be, or at least you think you need to be, how do you get good at it? First question to someone like this would be, why do you need to be good at that thing? You know, I always hear people saying like, yeah, man, I really need to insert thing here, you know, like maybe you're at school and like you're good at math and you're just like, if only I could be just as good at math or at reading as I am at math. And my question to this person is, why do you need to be perfect at everything? Nobody's perfect at everything, and nobody's, you know, extremely good at everything. Like, you can be okay at a lot of stuff, and, you know, that be that. But why do you need to be good at that thing? Why not just be acceptable at that thing, you know? And I'll give you an example. So I'm extremely bad at public reading, or not public speaking, because I speak in front of people all the time, no problem. But it's more like public reading, because I don't have that knowledge of what the word coming up is. And so my head is always trying to tell me what I would say next and not what's actually on the paper or on the screen or whatever. So, you know, when I was in school, or back in like, you know, elementary school and whatnot, I would like try to use math to guess what paragraph it would be when it was my turn to come up to read. Because, you know, I would read my paragraph ahead of time, like 3 or 4 times. And then I would always sound like I knew exactly what was going on. I would know my part. And sometimes I wouldn't even need to look back at the book. I would just be able to read it. And my teacher would be like, man, he read that whole thing and just cited it off as if it was his own words. No, bro. I fucking read that thing like 3 times before I got there. It's not the same, you know. And reading publicly is not something that, you know, you need to be perfect at. You can just say like, hey, I'm not all that great at that, and there are tools or things that you can do to not have to do that. Like, you know, being extremely good at math, that's not necessarily needed. You know, I took a lot of math when I was in school, and I haven't used much of any of it since I just don't need to do that. Like, I will never need to use the quadratic formula for anything that I do. At least not without a given reason. And when I'm given that reason, they'll give me that formula. So yeah, I don't really care. You know, a lot of people think that they're not good at anything, and that's not true. I still believe that everyone has a skill that they're good at. Like, some things come to you naturally or much easier than other things. And that's what I want to stress to people. Sometimes when you have to work really hard for something, yes, you can do it, but maybe that's not the thing you should be basing your career on. And why do people jump out in front of you when you're driving? Like, where the fuck were you going? You rushed in front of me to a red light. That's for another story. So let's say you're in college and you want to be a software developer, and software development is complex as hell to you. Like, everything that someone says to you, it takes you a couple of days to get the concepts, but you get them eventually. And you take really good notes, and so whenever something comes up, you check back in your notes and you're like, yeah, that is XYZ. And so as you're going through things, you're going through college, you're getting straight A's and yada yada yada. But then when it comes to practice, it's hard for you to apply all of those ideas whenever they need to be there. So you don't necessarily have the skill you need, but the knowledge is in there somewhere, you know. And that's what I mean when I say, you know, sometimes it's better to just not try to be something that's difficult to be at, especially when it's something that you need to do every day. If it's difficult to do this thing every day, you're gonna have a tough life. And so maybe, you know, it was really easy for you to, like, you know, teach people things that you already knew. Or maybe it was really easy for you to write papers, and you really have a really analytical mind when it comes to music. And when you write about music, or you write music yourself, it is beautiful. But this isn't what you want to do because it's boring. Well, that puts you in between a rock and a hard place, because what you're good at, you don't want to do. I won't say you're bad at it. What is hardest for you to do is what you want to do. You know what I mean there? Like, you can do these things, you can do whatever you decide that you want to do. But some things for you will be harder than other things for you. So what I'm getting at here is, if you decide that you're going to pick, I don't want to say a career, but a job, or if you're going to pick something to do, because I don't know if this is like a career or a hobby or whatever it is that you want to do, and this is what you choose to move forward with, just know that, you know, just because you think that you're not good at it, there's something that you're good at. And maybe you don't need to be good at that first thing, but you can do something else. And I'm sure there'll be something else that you'll enjoy more. Or, side note here, sometimes the thing that comes naturally to you is just a leeway into something else that you haven't come up with yet, or you haven't run across yet. So, you know, just because you're good at explaining things, or you're good at talking to people, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be a teacher. You know, maybe you're good at delegation, which means, you know, that right in itself could take you a long way. Being good at delegation could take you to being the president of whatever country you live in, if you live in a democracy. I know in the US, that's how that works. So there's, you know, I mean, there's like background knowledge of politics, but like, you never need to apply political knowledge in a sense of, you know, calculations. You know, politics and chemistry are not similar. At least not in my opinion. Maybe someone else can show me something different, where you apply, you know, different rules of the law in a different way. But as far as I'm concerned, those motherfuckers are concrete, and that's that, and that's a fact. So think about what you're doing and why you're doing it. And sometimes you'll find out that you don't fucking want to do that thing. And sometimes you'll find out that maybe that thing that you said that you didn't want to do is not too bad. And once you really have gotten into it, or you've given it a real try, you decided maybe you like that more than the thing that you said that you wanted to do in the first place because it sounded cool. So that's pretty much it. I'm BanKaiMike. I'll see you guys next time.